In this particular video, we are going to look at formulas and functions in Microsoft Excel. Formulas and functions are among the most important features of Microsoft Excel, simply because they allow us to perform calculations, analyze data, and also automate repetitive tasks that we can be able to carry out with this beautiful software called Microsoft Excel. I want you to imagine a situation whereby we have a class teacher and he or she has got about 100 students, and he is supposed to be able to calculate the total of the marks after they have done maybe a set of exams. Instead of this class teacher being in position to calculate these marks manually, learner by learner, with the help of this powerful software, this class teacher can be able to calculate the totals by simply automating the calculation with the help of either an Excel formula or an Excel function. So by the end of this video, I expect you to be able to explain what an Excel formula is. You should also be able to explain what an Excel function is. You should be in position to identify the difference between the two, the difference between an Excel formula and an Excel function. You should also be in position to create simple formulas. You should be able to also utilize some Excel functions that are existing already in our Excel software. And then you should be able to understand the different mathematical operators that are used in Excel. What is a formula? In Excel, a formula is an expression created by the user to perform a calculation in Excel. A formula begins with an equal sign. And we are going to be seeing examples on how to create formulas. I have prepared this content here. We are going to utilize this in order for us to be able to create some formulas such that we get to understand how formulas are created. But remember, we've said a formula is an expression that can be created by you as the computer user, by you who is using Excel as an application for doing your tasks. We are going to use this table here in order for us to create some formulas. So we are going to be able to create them by ourselves. Remember, the basic thing is, as you are creating any Excel formula, the very first thing you begin with is typing an equals sign. So we have quantity 1 and quantity 2. So for example, quantity 1 in this row number 2 is 50. And then quantity number 2 is 20. Maybe we want to get the sum of these two quantities. In order for us to calculate the sum of these two quantities, we are going to click the cell where we want the sum to be placed. In order for us to get the sum of the two, we are going to simply enter a formula, which we have said it begins with an equals sign. We are going to select the cell that has the first quantity, and then we are going to place the addition operation immediately after that, a cell which is A2. Remember, this cell A2 is the one which has the first quantity. And then also we are going to select the second cell which has the second quantity. So our formula, you can observe it very well. It is cell A2 being added to cell B2. So when we hit enter on our keyboard, we should be in position to get the sum of the two. So we have got this sum with the help of an Excel formula. The good news is we are going to utilize the fill handle feature that we learned in our previous video. We are going to click on this bottom right dot, and then we can be able to left click the mouse and drag it downwards to automatically fill the formula that we have created up here to fill it to get the sum of the rest of the quantities. We want to get the product of the two quantities. In order for us to get the product is a result obtained after multiplying the two quantities. In order for us to multiply them, we are going to click the cell where we want our product to be placed, and then we enter our formula by beginning with the equal sign, and then we select the first quantity, and then we put the multiplication. So mind you, in Excel, multiplication is written with the help of an asterisk symbol that you are seeing here, not a times, not the other normal times, but you type the asterisk between the two cells. So we are going to select also the second cell. So our formula is equal to A2 times B2. When we hit enter, there we are. So you can see 50 times 20, our answer is 1000. Then we do the same to get the rest of the products. We are going to use the autofill handle by clicking this bottom right dot, which would enable us to be able to automatically fill the formula to calculate the rest. Then here we are going to calculate the range. Range is usually the difference between the different quantities which are given, difference between the highest and the lowest. Our quantity 1 is going to act as our highest, and then quantity 2 is going to act as our lowest. So in order for us to calculate that difference, usually we have to subtract. So we type our formula. Remember, we begin with an equal sign, then we select the first cell, then we put a minus, and then we select the second cell. So our formula is equal to A2 minus B2. Then we hit enter. There we are. Our difference is 30. You can see the difference between 50 and 20 is 30. And then we do the same, and then we calculate the other differences. And then here we want the quotient. Quotient is got by dividing quantities. So in order for us to divide, we are going to enter a formula which begins with an equal sign, and then we select the first cell, and then we place the division symbol. So mind you, that is how the division symbol is written in Excel. Then we select the second cell. So we are dividing A2 divided by B2. So we are dividing the content, the value which is in A2 divided by the value which is in B2. And when we hit enter, there we are. Our quotient is 2.5. So let's also use the autofill feature, which enables us to get the quotients of other quantities. A function is a predefined formula built in Excel in order for us to perform a specific calculation or task. We said a formula is created by you, but a function is predefined. It is a predefined formula which is already created by the manufacturers or by the developers of the software. Instead of us creating a complicated formula ourselves, we can be able to use an existing Excel function. And we are going to use this table here in order for us to practice how to create and utilize Excel functions. I have a list of students on this table, and I have different subjects, as you can see right here. But at the extreme right hand side of this table, we have the totals. They are not there. And then also the average scores are not there. Instead of us using what we call formulas, in order for us to be able to calculate the total marks scored by Alice, that means we are going to get the sum of all these marks that Alice scored in the different subjects. So in order for us to get it, we are going to enter a function which is going to be also beginning with an equal sign. So we're going to say is equal to, then we want the sum. So you type the word sum, then it brings it in a menu that will pop up. So double left click that particular option of sum, then it will open a bracket, and inside that bracket it needs you to guide it. It needs you to guide where the summation should begin from and where it should end. We are going to select the first cell, and then we highlight all the cells which have the values that we want to be added. Inside this bracket, I have B2 up to H2. So you can see this is B2 and the last one is H2 for computer. So all these cells here, all the values that are within this range from B2 to H2, all those values are going to be added. So in order for the addition to be implemented, we have to hit enter on the keyboard. And there we are. Alice's total is 568 marks. And if I want to get the totals for the rest of the students, I simply embrace to use what we call the fill handle. The fill handle is got at the bottom right corner. I click and then I hold the mouse and then I drag it downwards, and you realize we now have the total marks for every student. And these total marks have been calculated with the help of a function, and you can see the function right here on the formula bar. Let's also look at how to get the average score of each of these students. And we're going to get this average score with the help of a function still. So our function is going to begin with equals, and then we declare the function that we need. There are so many functions which are embedded in this software. But in this particular case, we need a function that is going to enable us to calculate the average. So average is right here. So you double click it, and then still you highlight the cells that you want the average to be calculated basing on. So you can see we are still calculating the average between from B2 to H2. And when I hit enter on the keyboard, there we are. I get 81.1428286 as the average score of the first student. So if I want to get the average score for the rest of the students, I will simply embrace to use what we call the fill handle, which I will just click and drag downwards. Maybe if I want to eliminate these decimals, I will simply highlight. Remember, this takes us to the previous videos that we learned. Highlight these cells, then right click, then head to format cells, and then come to number, and then here you define the number of the decimal places. Maybe you can allow 1 decimal place, or you can even put 0 decimal places. Then it will round this average score to the nearest whole number. So I click OK, and there we are. Instead of having very many decimals, we now have whole numbers right there. Basically, in simple terms, if you want to calculate something with the help of a function, you have to begin entering that function by entering the equal sign, and then declare the function that you want. This function can be the sum, it can be the average, it can be the minimum value. Yeah, you can be able to declare all the functions that you want, and then after declaring the function, guide the software on the range where you want the function to be executed, from where up to where. Like the way you can see here, we have from B2 to H2. It guides Excel the area or the cells that it considers while executing that particular function. Having looked at formulas and functions, let us try to compare them. When we compare them, we've understood that a formula can be created by you, the computer user. Like the way you see here, these formulas, it is purely us who entered every detail that is available here. Meanwhile, with a function, it is predefined. You just have to declare which particular function you need, but it is already existing in Excel. A formula can combine different operators and cell references. For example, if I want to get the sum of this, you saw how we're able to combine this cell and this cell with an operation of addition. And then if we wanted the product, we had to combine these two cells with an operation of multiplication. Whereas with a function, you basically have to declare the function that you want. Maybe you want the sum function, you want the maximum function. It is up to you to declare, but it is already existing. Excel uses mathematical operators in order for it to perform calculations, and these are the key operators that are used in Excel. We have the plus, which will carry out the addition. For example, you can add cell A1 plus B1, but remember to begin with an equal symbol. And then you can do subtraction, and you can utilize it by saying is equal to A1 minus B1, and then subtraction can be carried out. You can carry out multiplication by simply putting multiplication between that cells that you want to multiply. Then division, this is the symbol. Remember, multiplication and division, they use unique symbols. For multiplication, we use the asterisk symbol. Then division, we use this slash here, not the other normal division symbol that we know. And then for a power or an index, we use this symbol which is facing up. For example, if you want A1 power 2, you basically enter it like this. And then we have the percentage symbol can be entered like the way you see on your screen. The key things that I need you to understand about these symbols or these operations, this asterisk is used for multiplication, not the regular multiplication symbol that we know. Then this slash is used for division, not the ordinary division symbol that we know. I hope we have been able to understand what a formula is, what an Excel function is, the difference between the two, and when and where each of them can be used, and how each of them can be used. Thank you very much for watching this video. If this video has been so helpful to you, I simply request you to like the video, consider sharing it. Otherwise, if you have not subscribed, I request you subscribe to Tech with Teacher George YouTube channel. Thank you very much. See you in our next video.